Okay, welcome everyone to this session, which is 20 years of a Global Development Awards competition, celebrating Government of Japan's contribution to development research and innovative social development. Now, this is really the celebration of 20th anniversary, which normally should have been taken place in 2020. But this was, of course, postponed because of the pandemic. And we are celebrating this anniversary with 1 year lag. But it doesn't matter. This anniversary is as important 1 year from the actual anniversary as it is today. Now, this event has different goals. First, we want to celebrate GDN's longest standing program and also Japan's unique support to GDN. Second, we want to hear from past grantees about the impact that the awards could have on their career in development. And third, of course, and this is the climax of this event, we want to announce the 12 winners of this extraordinary 2021 edition of the Global Development Awards. And at the same time, we would like to launch the Global Development Awards platform, which is a new interactive feature that allows engaging with past winners of the competition and to create a lively network among all of them. So the first part of this event will be about the celebration of the legacy of the competition, which is GDN's, as I said, longest running program. And we will do that through the words of the institutions which are directly involved in funding and managing these awards. So we will have 3 opening speeches, respectively from the government of Japan, from the World Bank, and of course from GDN. The second session, or the second part of the session, will be a conversation with our past awardees and their testimonies of the different impacts of this competition on their careers and on advances in development and development studies across the globe. And the third moment will focus on the announcement of the 12 winners of this edition of the awards. As mentioned, we'll also be launching this new platform, and you'll see a short video showing what this platform is able to do. So let's start with the first segment of this session, which is a tribute that we want to pay to this Global Development Awards competition, and in particular to the government of Japan, which has supported since the beginning, since the first day, this event. I must say that I'm talking about this. I was among the jury of the first awards. And I remember very well to have given the award, to have selected, among others, two candidates who then became rather famous. One is, and we say a little more about him a little later, is Jaime Saavedra, who then became a minister in Peru, and whom I knew very, very well when I was in the World Bank, and had a brilliant career. And the second one is Sergei Guriev, who was one of the first, I think he was in the first year, and Sergei then created the New School of Economics in Moscow. And then, unfortunately, he has to leave for some reason, Russia. And then he became the chief economist of the European, the EBRD, the European Development Bank. And now he's in Paris teaching economics in Sciences Po. So two really fantastic careers, which really started to some extent with those awards. So I think this is really a very nice moment to remind ourselves of those days. So our first speaker to talk about all these will be Mr. Tanabe, who is the director of the Multilateral Development Banks Division in the Japan Ministry of Finance. And a few words about him before I invite him to speak. Mr. Tanabe had a brilliant career. He has held many positions since he joined the Ministry of Finance in Japan. But he also has an extensive experience in development finance, including a couple of years spent in the Asian Development Bank, first as a staff, and then at the executive director for Japan in the bank. And we are very happy to have him with us today. I should also add that he holds a BA from the University of Tokyo in law and an MA in regional studies in East Asia from Harvard University. So it's a pleasure to have him with us today. And I leave the floor to Mr. Tanabe.
Thank you, Chair, for the introduction, and thank you also for a wonderful story about the history of these awards. My name is Masashi Tanabe, Director of MDB's Division, the Ministry of Finance, Japan. It's a great honor for me to be here today to make an opening remark on behalf of the government of Japan. First of all, I would like to thank the Global Development Network, Gdn, for organizing this wonderful event. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Reinermann and the team at the World Bank and all of you who are here today for making this event happen amid the pandemic. We wouldn't be able to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Global Development Awards and Medals if it weren't for each and every single one of you. We are very proud that the Global Development Awards and Medals have been promoting research and building networks among researchers, especially young researchers in developing countries. The Global Development Awards was proposed in March 1999 by Mr. Kiichi Miyazawa, the then Minister of Finance of Japan, during the World Bank Symposium on Global Finance and Development in Tokyo. It was established later in that year and became the world's largest competition for research and development now. It aims to support individuals or groups that have made or are expected to make significant achievement in research or projects in development. Due to COVID-19, the world is facing an unprecedented economic and social crisis. The negative impact of COVID-19 on people in developing countries, especially the poor and the vulnerable, is enormous. This underscores the importance of innovative ideas backed by academic knowledge. Today, this year's winners will be announced, as I understand, and I sincerely want to congratulate the winners. But at the same time, I want to emphasize that your research is valuable regardless of the results. I expect your research to inform policies in developing countries and build bridges between research and practice. I look forward to seeing your future research. Thank you for the kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tanabe, for these nice words. And now our second speaker is Mr. Dirk Reinerman, who is the Director of Trust Funds and Partnership Relations in the World Bank. Mr. Reinermann has been the director of this division in the World Bank since 2017. And he has the huge responsibility of overseeing the trusteeship of something like $30 billion held as trust funds or financial intermediary funds in the World Bank. So in his capacity, he also directs the ongoing reform of trust funds and financial intermediary funds at the World Bank. Now, previously, Mr. Reinermann has a direct experience in countries, but in particular, while in the World Bank, he was working, he was the country director for Southern Europe. And I think it is worth mentioning it. He did a lot for the relationship or for the establishing a close partnership between the World Bank and its development objectives and the European Union. And I think that this was really something extremely important. Before joining the World Bank Group, Mr. Reinermann has been working in several countries. So he knows extremely well Central Europe and some African countries. He holds a diploma in economics from the Ruprecht Karls University in Heidelberg. And he worked previously for the German federal government as a trade economist, and certainly something which is quite important, and in any career, something which prepares to the best. He has been the speechwriter to ministers in the German government. So we are sure that because of this, Mr. Reinermann will tell us very interesting things in a very nice way. Mr. Reinermann, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Professor Bourguignon. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to join Tanabe-san and my colleague Helena Nkole to welcome you to the 20th Global Development Awards Competition Virtual Conference and to celebrate the development impact of the Japanese Awards Competition Program. And if I can add, it's a pleasure to see you, François. The last time was in Sarajevo in Bosnia, I think in 2007, when you came to present your seminal work on income inequality as part of the WDR at that time. It's a great pleasure to see you again. The Japanese Awards Competition Program was established in 2000 through a partnership between the government of Japan, the World Bank Group, and the Global Development Network, or GDN. It is now the largest and longest running awards program in the history of the GDN. The awards program supports research capacity development of economics and social science researchers and finances innovative social development projects benefiting marginalized groups in developing countries. Since its inception, through the generous support of the government of Japan, via the PHAD Trust Fund, which is in our department, the awards program has supported over 100 grants valued at $4.2 million to developing country researchers and NGOs across the globe. These awards, mostly comprising of micro-projects, have not only transformed the careers of past awardees, François already mentioned a couple, but have been instrumental in bringing development challenges that would have otherwise remained obscured to the limelight. We're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Japanese Awards together with our esteemed officials from the government of Japan, key partners, past award winners, and the 2021 Japanese Award finalists. The winners will be announced today, and I wish all the finalists the very best. The Japanese Awards program has provided training to past winners and brought them international visibility. This afforded them the opportunity to participate in policy design and implementation, including addressing major development challenges such as conservation efforts, human capital development, and many more. Success stories from some of the award recipients that will be discussed here today show the transformative impact of the Japanese Awards program. Rich lessons will also be shared through the GDN's network platform, which will be launched today. So I hope that you will enjoy the discussions and celebrate with us the achievement of the Japanese Awards program. I know that the awards recipients who are connecting virtually today are joining me, the GDN and the World Bank Group, to extend our sincere gratitude and appreciation to the government and the people of Japan for their continued generous support to the awards program over the years. We look forward to our continued collaboration with the government of Japan and the GDN on the awards program to realize our twin goals of ending extreme poverty by 2030 and boosting shared prosperity. Thank you very much for your partnership, and back to you, François.
Thank you very much, Dirk, and thank you very much for these remarks, and certainly for what they say about the collaboration between the government of Japan, the World Bank, and the GDN. And now I will give the floor to Pierre Jacquet, the president of GDN. I'm not sure that there is a real need to introduce Pierre, because most people in this audience will know him. He has been the president of GDN since 2012. He was formerly the chief economist of the French Agency for Development. After having run the economics department in a well-known institute in France called the Institute for International Relations. For a long time, he has also been teaching economics, and in particular in one of the most prestigious grandes écoles in France, an engineer school, called the École nationale des ponts et chaussées. I will not translate because there is something a bit ridiculous in this name, but let me simply tell you that this is really a place where many great minds have studied, and in economics in particular, there is a huge tradition from that school. And we had people like Cournot, for example, and Jules Dupuis, who are the fathers of huge parts of the economic discipline, who studied and taught in that school. So Pierre, I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, François, for this very nice introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I'm very happy to be here today to celebrate the 20 years of the Global Development Awards, longest standing program of GDN. And it's really a moment to express our gratitude, and first our gratitude to the government of Japan, which I think has been very visionary in the early 2000s, because it was one of the first attempts to promote research in developing countries. While most development research has been conducted time and again in developed countries. So the fact of deliberately seeking to encourage research locally was a visionary innovation, very much, of course, in line with the creation and the mission of GDN, and we are very happy to have been able to carry that vision over the years up to now. I also would like to express our gratitude to the team at the World Bank, because it has been constantly very supportive, helping us to tailor that program through the many evolutions that the world has known over these 20 years. It has been a pleasure to work with you and with Helena, notably, who has been constantly supportive of this program and a fantastic interlocutor for all of us. And with your team, Dirk, at the Trust Fund Department in the World Bank. Let me say a few words about what this program is really about, because indeed it supports research from developing country researchers. But when we look in depth at what the program does, in fact, it's a selection mechanism. It's an identification and selection mechanism. It identifies talent in developing countries, and then it helps these talents to express themselves and to develop. And this has been a fantastic experience because there is a lot of talent, not only on research, and this is an area in which this talent sometimes faces a lot of obstacles to be discovered and to express themselves, but also in the field of development and entrepreneurship. And it has been fascinating to support these very innovative teams trying out innovative projects to support poor people in developing countries, and then to try to scale up their projects. And this is what this program has allowed. And for that also, we are very grateful. So a mechanism to identify talent in research and in entrepreneurship, as I said, a promotion of that talent through various means, funding, of course, creating opportunities for these young, innovative people in their countries, but also developing peer exchanges, peer reviews, peer contact, by providing mentoring services as well. This has been very instrumental, I think, in making this program a success. This program also has helped raise, and Mr. Tanabe mentioned that, raise a voice and messages and example of developing countries in international fora. And actually, this meeting is an example of that, allowing for an exchange not only from north to south, which is a tradition, but also from south to north. And this exchange has been, I think, very productive. And finally, there is a general idea underlying the program, which I think we may not have carried to its end fully, which is the idea of connecting research with activity, with operations. There are two legs in this program. One is research, outstanding research on development, and the other one is entrepreneurship, the most innovative development project. And these two legs have been managed a little bit independently, but the fact that they belong to the same program in itself is a testimony to the belief that these two legs are important. If I may, I think that one of our ideas for the future might be to try to relate these two legs a little bit more. For example, by adding mentors to the MIDP implementation, by fostering collaborative grants between MIDP innovators, most innovative development project innovators, and the research grantees. That could be quite fascinating. But also, this conference is about evidence for development. I think that MIDP also has a potential to create a lot of useful evidence. But this evidence requires research to be transmissible and communicated. So maybe in the future, it would be very interesting, at least as a pilot attempt, to try to connect these two legs of MIDP and research, and to interest researchers in the MIDP innovations to see what research can bring in understanding local innovation in developing countries. That could be providing very useful evidence, and it's an idea that we hope we can work together on for the future. So thank you very much. It has been a source of great pride to be able to run this program at Gdn, and we are very happy that we could have all your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pierre, and thank you for this view that you expressed about possible improvement and to some extent better integration of various aspects of Gdn activity with the action developed by the awardees of this Global Development Awards. Okay, now that we have introduced this event and that we have celebrated this the longevity of this program and with its 20, which is completing 20 years, Let's move to the second part of this event, which is a discussion, hopefully a discussion, but maybe more a presentation by several past awardees who will tell us about their experience and the way in which they were able to move on after getting this award. But maybe before that, I think it is important to mention that several initiatives have taken place to document the outcomes of the competition over the years in general. And I would like to mention in particular an evaluation which described the influence of the competition on a rather large number of past winners on their individual trajectories. And this is in a document which is called the Gdn Impact Report. And this is, again, in connection with the theme of this conference on finding or evaluating the impact of programs and policies. So Gdn Impact Report on Global Development Awards Competition. And this highlights how awards have positively contributed to individual careers and the development of institutions. And often, we could say, beyond the expectations of the awardees, who didn't realize that maybe because of the award or maybe because of their intrinsic quality and energy and talent would develop these kind of institutions. So this is a very interesting document which, again, shows all the interest of this program. But now let's move to hearing the testimony of past winners. And we asked them to share some of their memories and the experience that they had of this competition. But before giving the floor to the ones who are around the table or around the screen, whatever this means, we would like to give the floor to one which I mentioned a little earlier, with Jaime Saavedra, who had a very fantastic career after being recognized by this competition, as he was the first prize winner in the ORD category, which is Outstanding Research on Development. This was in 2002, and this took place at the Cairo conference. Then Jaime went on in academic life, and I would like to stress the fact that he created in the University of Lima a research center, which was in those days among the best development economics research center in the developing world. Even in Latin America, the center that was created by Jaime was highly praised and was really among the best ones. And I should say that initially, few people would have thought that it would be possible to create such a top research institute in Peru. But Jaime was able to gather the best talents in Peru and in some other countries, and to have them around in Lima. And this was the first fantastic achievement by him. And then he made the first stage in the World Bank, and then he was called in Peru to become the Minister of Finance, and then given the alternance in Peru, he went back to the World Bank, where he's now the head of the global education practice in the World Bank, so supervising all the activity of the bank in the field of education. So we have a lead video with his message, and I think that somebody will have to launch this video. I don't know whether I have to do it or I can see on, here it is. Here is Jaime.
Good morning. My name is Jaime Saavedra, and I'm the Good morning. My name is Jaime Saavedra, and I'm the Global Director for Education at the papers was financed by GDN because in 2002 we had won an award at the
François, you're muted. Here I'm back. Sorry. There are too many things on my screen. So it was really nice to hear to Jaime Saavedra, and in particular his last remarks on the fact that research is well understood among researchers and among one part of the society, but not everywhere. And in some cases, it is true that there is work to be done to convince policymakers and politicians about the importance of research. And over the last few days, with this discussion about evidence, the fact that we need to convey that evidence to politicians and policymakers is really something important and not that easy. And I believe that Jaime is among the people who have been able to do that in his own context. Okay, now I would like to invite the four past winners who are with us to maybe switch on their video if they didn't do so yet, because we would like to hear from them about their experience and the difference that the competition has made to their career, and maybe about the choices they made in terms of the work that they've done. So it would be nice for them to remind the audience of the unique feature of the competition is that you must remember that there are 3 awards. I mean, 2 awards. One is the Outstanding Research and Development, which is in the research category. And then there is an award for implementation, which is called the Most Innovative Development Award, the MIDA. But on top of that, and in connection with the implementation category award, there is this possibility of accessing an additional scale-up grant, which is awarded by the Japanese Social Development Fund, and which consists of an amount of $200,000, which is some substantial amount to indeed implement the project for which a candidate or a winner has been awarded the prize. So we have today with us winners in all those categories. And it will be interesting to listen to their views about those categories and about what they've done with it. So let me invite maybe the first winner, who is Mr. Dipayan from the South Asia Forum for Environment, who was the first prize winner of the implementation award in 2018 and has benefited from this scale-up grant of $200,000 in 2020. So Mr. Day is an environmental biotechnologist. He specializes in restoration ecology with 25 years of experience in community-based climate adaptation in South Asia. He led several action research projects on conservation planning and management and at the community ecosystem interface. Presently, he heads the Research and Innovation Division in South Asian Forum for Environment, SAFE, a regional CSO, and a major stakeholder to the UN Environment and UN FCCC working towards SDGs in the South Asian ecoregion. Mr. Day, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, François, and thank you to each one of you. It's a very wonderful opportunity to get back, as if getting back to the alma mater.
Dipayan, you're muted.
Can you hear me well? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, this is fine.
Okay. So it's really an opportunity, and I express my sincere most thanks to Gdn, to the government of Japan, JSTF, and all the mentors that have helped us to take this forward, not for a single day, maybe for an immense period that has actually crossed the pandemic period even, and we stood together to take it ahead. I would be very rather overwhelmed to say that this particular award, when we got this, we never thought of getting this because we are struggling with a very innovative and very challenging type of a project that is basically hydroponic float farming in inundated areas that is being affected by the storms and the flood due to climate change impacts. And we wanted to grow something above those inundated areas on floating platforms using some hydroponic and say micro irrigation techniques. So this is a very challenging idea, and we were running from post to pillars, and then we got this advertisement and we applied. But the amazing part is that I still remember those days in Delhi when we were presenting before the esteemed jurors, being questioned, and then rather it was a discussion, and we learned more than what we delivered. And through that, when we got this project, actually it was a freedom from the fear of failures. Whenever we go for innovations, we get shaken by the fear that if it fails. So Gdn had given that support, and then we got the MIDP award, where we could establish very correctly and very, positively the entire innovation in the community interface, and we spreaded it with the support for the scale-up grant also from JSDF. And very frankly speaking, when we look back these years, the most important part that we found the difference with other projects, with other grants or the schemes that we often try for, is Gdn is something like a parenting institute that is supporting us in every crucial moment where we needed support. And at the same time, it's like a continued support that in every stages, when you develop the idea, you pilot the idea, you take it to a scale-up phase, you put it in the community, and you see the sustainability. In all these stages, we found that we are being supported and mentored, and in every possible way, we are getting the support from Gdn. That is, I think, very important for us, for those who work in the community interface, in the resource crunch within the, say, Global South. So today we have a number of esteemed, say, achievements, I would say, that the community has developed their local institutions, it is strengthened, they're trying to scale it up. A lot of other development organizations like GIZ has put in their resources to scale it up further. So it is coming up to a global stage where we could even put it in the Nairobi work program of UNFCCC, and that is being very illustratively given in the NWP. And also in our own nation, the design of the project, the innovation has been taken up by the Indian Consortium of Industries and FICCI also. So these are some of the achievements that has helped us to understand that, yes, if we have a real innovation and if we have a real challenge to face, and of course, if we have a real partnership like that, what we got from Gdn and JSDF, I think it's possible, given any situation, it's possible to fetch the sustainability. So with these words, I would again submit my humble, sincere thanks to all of you. And back to François again for this wonderful opportunity to speak to the esteemed audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dipayan, for this very interesting presentation of what happened after the war, and the fact that it was possible for you to have this kind of coalescing of interest from various sources joining your initial effort, which I think is extremely encouraging, both for yourself, of course, and the innovative nature of the project, but also for the whole program of Gdn. And you have been very kind of stressing the support that Gdn brought, even after, of course, the award. Our second award winner is Ms. Gladys Kalema-Zikusoka, who he's the founder and the CEO of Conservation Through Public Health, CTPH, which, as a matter of fact, was the reason why she got in 2012 the Global Development Award for the most innovative development project. So again, we can see that this project is a long-lived project, since it is still going on. Now, this project is to protect endangered gorilla and other wildlife through One Health approaches. Miss Kalema-Zikusoka graduated from the Royal Veterinary College in the University of London in 1996. She established the Uganda Wildlife Authority's first veterinary department. She did the zoological medicine residency in North Carolina. And there she master research on disease at the human wildlife livestock interface. And this is what led her to found the CTPH in 2003. In 2015, she founded Gorilla Conservation Coffee to support farmers living around habitats where gorillas are found. Dr. Gladys won an incredible amount of awards. And I will not read them because I have the feeling that if I were to do that, then she would have no time left to tell us about what she does today and the way in which this award was really something determinant in her career. So without further ado, I give the floor to Miss Kalema-Zikusoka.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we hear you very well.
It was a really great honor. It was a really great honor to win the Gdn, the first prize for the Gdn award in 2013. I remember it was in Manila, Philippines. And this enabled us to scale our approach of village health and conservation teams. These are community health workers who we teach to do conservation work. We realized the importance of having people like this based on experiences I had working on the Uganda Wildlife Authority, where we had a scabies skin disease outbreak in the critically endangered mountain gorillas, traced to people living around the park who have very little health care. And we realized that we couldn't protect the gorillas without improving the health of the communities who they share their habitat with. And CTPH was set up with programs to integrate wildlife health and conservation, community health, with a focus on One Health approaches and alternative livelihoods. So when we applied for the Gdn award, we wanted to scale our model of sustaining the village health and conservation teams with village saving and loan associations. And we had done it in 2 parishes. With the first award of 30,000, we went to 2 other parishes and made those volunteers sustainable, which meant that even if there was no donor funding, they could continue to do the work. When we won the $200,000, we were able to apply to the Japanese Social Development Fund. We then scaled up to another gorilla habitat in the DRC near the Virungas, which was a very exciting opportunity to do this, although it's a very difficult place to work because of a lot of conflict and civil war. But we managed to work with village health and conservation teams who had created before but had disintegrated because we're not able to provide them with group livestock projects and village saving and loan associations. Some of them had even gone into refugee camps and had scattered everywhere because of the conflict. But through this award, we were able to reorganize them, give them these group livestock projects, and they kept going, and they're continuing to change people wherever they are. People are having better health and hygiene, and this has become more important actually during the COVID-19 pandemic. More and more people are adopting hand washing stations wherever we've scaled up the approach. And we've been able to protect the gorillas from getting COVID-19, which is wonderful. And then we also use the funds to also go to Mount Elgon, which does not have gorillas, but is a very critical habitat where there's a very high human population growth rate. And because people settle in the mountain, they graze their cattle, they encroach on the habitat, the mountain is beginning to crack and they're having landslides. So it's a big environmental disaster. But the reason why this One Health approach was also working very well in Mount Elgon is because it was improving the relationship between the community and the park management, because we showed that we don't only care about the forest and the wildlife, we also care about their health. So it was reducing conflict and making people enter the park much less because they felt that we were caring about their health. And they were also looking out for homes that were being visited by wildlife to create a lot of conflict. So in Mount Elgon, people planted a lot of trees and they really embraced family planning, which is something that happened in all the places that we worked. So we're really pleased about this. Through this funding from GDN, we were able to get additional funding from the Darwin Initiative, and we continued the work in Mount Elgon National Park, and we also scaled up to Budongo Forest Reserve. And so we're continuing to engage all these village health and conservation teams wherever they are, which is really helping a lot. And it's a sustainable structure because the VHTs are supported by the Ministry of Health. They don't give them a salary, but they give them, they invite them when they have to vaccinate people and different things. But we made them a lot more sustainable to continuously reach people's homes and address their health and development issues and conservation concerns, because we were able to give them a group livestock projects and village saving and loan, help them to develop village saving and loan associations, and they're continuing to grow and continuing to make an impact in their communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gladys, for this very profound presentation about your work, and we could feel how engaged and how committed you are. And I must say that I find it this connection or this putting together the wildlife, the people, and the livestock is really fantastic. Development, to a large extent, is really trying to put together various disciplines or various stream directions for research and for innovation. But it is not always the case that we are able to put together those various directions. And at the same time, we know how important it is to take into account the interaction that do exist between them. And your work is somewhat exemplary because it really explicitly deals with that need for interaction and good, positive interaction. So let's move to our third award winner, who is Mrs. Kanchana Wickramasinghe. She got the first prize for the outstanding research and development, so the other type of award in 2014. She's today a PhD candidate at the Griffith University in Brisbane in Australia. Before that, she was working as a research economist at the Institute of Policy Studies in Sri Lanka, and therefore she is currently on leave from that institute. She has done research in various areas, including climate change, disaster management, sustainability. This would be more on the environmental part, but she has also done some work on tourism, and we are certainly very happy to listen to what she has to tell us about what she learned and what she got from the ORD prize in 2014. Kanchana, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And it is actually a great opportunity to get the opportunity to speak today at this very important event. So I won the ORD award for my proposal on climate insurance for dry zone farmers in Sri Lanka in 2014. And the main idea behind that project was to enhance socioeconomic protection for farmers against increasing vulnerabilities due to climate change in Sri Lanka. And it aimed to understand the current drawbacks in the traditional climate or crop insurance schemes, and also to assess the technical feasibility for alternative approaches such as index-based insurance. So with my experience with the GDN, so according to my opinion, the most distinctive feature of GDN awards is the recognition that it provides to the winners. So I won the award in 2014 round, which was held in Ghana, and following that, through the various dissemination and outreach channels, the GDN provides high level of visibility to the winners as well as to the winning projects. And I feel that this is something really incredible and unique feature of GDN awards. And it's really an honor to be a GDN award winner, actually. Also, other unique feature that I feel very important in GDN awards is that GDN brings in world-class expertise to improve the research ideas and research designs through its mentoring program. So in my case, the index-based insurance was a new area for Sri Lanka. We had lack of expertise on technical aspects when it comes to assessing the feasibility. And interestingly, my work was mentored by a world-class expert in that area, Professor Daniel Osgood from Columbia University. So he had a very wide experience on like index-based insurance in developing countries, and my project benefited a lot from his expertise. So I feel that it's a very important element in GDN awards. When I applied for the GDN award, I was working as a policy researcher in the areas of climate adaptation, disaster management, and sustainability issues. And I had my research area developed and was seeking funds to undertake the research. And I felt that the GDN award as a generous funding support, as it helped me to cover all the costs involved in carrying out this research, most importantly, field data collection costs, staff costs, and also most importantly, dissemination costs. I'm really pleased that some of my study findings, actually key findings of my project, were reflected in Sri Lanka's government budget proposals in 2018. And these areas covered my suggestion to increase climate data availability for successful implementation of index-based insurance, and as well as to improve farmers' knowledge and understanding about crop insurance or climate insurance. So the award helped me to make an important contribution in terms of policy engagement in Sri Lanka. And I feel that this experience further strengthened my capacity as a policy researcher. Based on my experience at GDN, I feel that the competition is really valuable, both in terms of financing innovative and important research projects, as well as in building capacities of researchers. So as I learned over the years, the GDN competition in each year focuses on globally important research themes, which are very vital to be supported with empirical evidence. So the competition carries enormous value in terms of these aspects, and I feel that there is great potential in creating positive development impacts that really matter through this program in the future. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Kanchana. And listening to you, I was thinking about the fact that there may not be such a big difference between the one type of award, I mean the research award, and the implementation award, in the sense that what you've done has some, as we explained, some direct implication in terms of the work or the life of farmers, and that you contributed to improving the way in which things actually do work in the real life, not on paper, not in terms of pure research. So I think it was very interesting to listen to your experience in terms of policy application of research. I mean, I think this is really essential. And I would say that if there is a kind of a key, absolute key priority in the GDN, it is precisely to promote this kind of research. And so we can only be extremely happy to listen to your experience. Okay, and our last award winner is Emmanuel Yujuico. He has the first prize in the Outstanding Research on Development in 2019. He is a senior consultant for Access Health International, which is a non-profit think tank whose mission is for all people to have access to high quality and affordable healthcare. He's also a visiting lecturer for the Ateneo de Manila University in the Philippines, where he teaches courses in economics, political science, and leadership and strategy, which is quite a wide portfolio. His current research investigates linkages between health policy and the development outcome in low and middle income countries. And I'm happy to give him the floor. Emmanuel, it's to you.
Thank you for that introduction, Professor. And once more, I would like to thank everyone, including our Japanese sponsors, for giving us this award and continuing the health-related work that we are doing in the Philippines in trying to extend access to all people so that they may avail of good quality care, no matter in the world, where in the world they are or who they are. And the theme for the year that we competed in 2019 was the Research Evidence to Policy Nexus. And the topic we chose was very much in line with that, which dealt with exploring Philippine use of evidence-based research to influence public health policy. So it's important to note that we have problems in the developing world in terms not only of obtaining sufficient funding. So not only do you have to get enough funding to conduct your research in health, but you also have to convince policymakers such as lawmakers or the persons who work for government agencies to adopt this evidence-based research. So it's a dual challenge. And we chose to look more at how we can show that there are clear policy implications of the research that Philippine health researchers were doing. Because oftentimes researchers did the research, but they did not translate into actual health policy outcomes. And the timing was also fortuitous because it was the very last GDN event to be held right before the pandemic. And it was, I believe, one of the few, if not the only, research winner so far that dealt with a health aspect. So it was very timely, I believe. And so the challenge that we thought of was how could we better make use of publicly funded health research? So they conduct this health research, but how can we translate it into actually positive health outcomes? And in some cases, this worked. So some policies regarding reproductive health were well heeded, researchers' voices were heard, but some others were not, such as the adoption of the dengue vaccine rollout, which was in the aftermath considered a bit premature. And there was a large scare that occurred about vaccination that even nowadays is hampering the adoption of COVID vaccines. And these sorts of topics are of great interest and importance because especially now, the pandemic demonstrates that health undergirds or has a lot of relations with development. Many of the things that we took for granted before, interacting with other people, going to shops, and so on and so forth, are things that we cannot do on as a regular basis nowadays. So development is becoming foregrounded in health as well. Hence the term that we use in health policy research, it's called HIAP, HIAP, health in all policies. So we're seeing a shift where health is becoming a larger topic within the development field in general, as demonstrated by us winning this award, and more attention being focused on the field in general. And the benefits I see from winning this award include that there has been a lot of guidance provided to us, in that they gave us a high-level mentor to oversee our work. We were not sure who we would get, but Gdn was able to find a very high-level person to help us out with our research progress, from its design to its implementation, in Professor Annette Boas of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, which is one of the foremost health research institutions in the world. And actually, she was the founder of a journal which deals specifically with the topics we are investigating, and its name is called Evidence and Policy. So how is research evidence in different fields, such as health, being translated into actual policies? How can researchers position their work better so that policymakers can use it in introducing health positive policies? That's a large challenge that we think is very applicable, especially nowadays with health related concerns in the foreground with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. And the good thing about the Gdn Award is its focus on developing country researchers. So the field that we specifically work on is called HPSR, which is called Health Policy and Systems Research. So we're not interested in the laboratory side. Is this vaccine more effective than the other? Should this medicine be licensed or not? We're more interested in the public policy elements as well as the implementation side. So how do we introduce the vaccines instead of developing them? How can we get people to trust medical professionals more, and so on and so forth? And a 2017 survey by English and Porbolol looked at the HPSR research being done worldwide. In between the years 1990 to 2015, there were 85,000 research articles done, but only 7,000 dealt with the HPSR problems of the developing countries. So the vast majority of research has been done regarding the developed countries, and the Gdn Award helps us researchers in the developing world focus more on our problems. And from these 7,000 articles that concern health policy and systems research in developing countries, only 2,600 were led by a developing world author. So I believe that one of the benefits Gdn offers is that it allows us developing world researchers more capabilities, improves our capacities to conduct research on topics that are more pertinent to developing countries, given that the vast majority of academic research is focused more on the health problems of developed countries. So this is a great benefit in that they extend to us experts in the field, not just in developing countries, but worldwide, persons who are very familiar with the process of peer review and generating research for publication, because even until now, one of the main avenues for disseminating research is to peer-reviewed publications, and Gdn is helping us with experts who can guide us through the process so that we can better position our research to make it more publishable and to make us be able to share our findings with a wider audience. So that's a great benefit to us. And speaking of that article I mentioned earlier, many of the suggestions made in order to improve the outputs of developing countries in health policy and systems research are, I believe, being followed by GDN. Increased funding, institutional capacity building, and knowledge production, which is in support of vulnerable populations and research constrained settings, which unfortunately describes a lot of our developing countries like my own, the Philippines. So it's rededicated my focus through obtaining this funding to see ways in which research can improve the health situations in developing countries, not only through judicious use of research funding, but also finding ways to make our research findings, the evidence that we gather, more usable to the policymakers, people in Congress, people who work in the government ministries for health-related matters. So for the Philippines, for instance, we were very badly affected by the global pandemic. We rank 53rd out of 53rd in the world for COVID resilience, according to Bloomberg, and 121st and 121st, also dead last, according to the Nikkei Asia COVID Recovery Index. So there is a lot of room for good quality research to be done to address issues dealing with how the health system can be improved. And given the shift in the development field towards health-related matters, I think this is very timely and can help improve situations in developing countries, especially given how many aspects of our lives are impacted by health matters, as demonstrated by the pandemic. And I would lastly
Yujuico, I'm sorry to have to rush you, but we're a bit short of time. So
all right, that's all I have to say for that, Professor. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry to have interrupted you, but we still have a last bit for this session. But in any case, thank you very much for what you have said, and which showed, to some extent, this again was exemplary of what research oriented toward the policy is doing. And you were very eloquent in showing all what we got from this, all the benefits society is getting from this kind of research. And research done with people, talented people like you are, and your example with the COVID in the Philippines is certainly well taken. And in general, the fact that health is such an important component of development, which is not always at the right with the right priority in the development research agenda. So let me stop here this second part of the session, thanking again all our award winners who have shared with us their experience, and which really have shown how fantastic these awards are, and in the sense that they are really revealing talents, and in many cases leading to the development of very important programs. I think that if there was any reason to justify those awards, we just heard this incredibly strong justifications of those awards made possible by the Japanese government. So thank you again. And we move to the last part of the session, which is, of course, dealing with the awarding of those prizes. So as I said at the beginning, there will be two parts. First, I would like to say a few words about this Global Development Awards platform, which has been put together, and simply to show you what is done, I mean, for you to have an idea about the functionalities of that platform. And then we'll have the announcement of the 12 winners of the 2021 edition. And to do that, I would like to invite Mr. Reinermann to join us on the screen. In general, we said to join us on the stage, but today it is on the screen. And also to invite Pierre Jacquet to do the same. And finally, I would like to invite a second representative of the government of Japan, who is Mr. Naoya Adachi, to join us and to put on his video. Mr. Adachi is currently serving as the Deputy Director of Multilateral Development Bank Division in the International Department of the Ministry of Finance of Japan. He has held many positions in the ministry since he joined that institution. He also has extensive experience in macroeconomic policies in low-income countries because he was at the IMF for a while, and then he was running the desk for Laos and for Timor-Leste. Mr. Adachi holds a BA from the University of Tokyo and the Master of Public Administration from Columbia University in the US. So thank you very much, Mr. Adachi, for joining us for this last part of this event. Okay, as announced, a few words about this Global Development Award platform. This resulted from a consultation of past winners on the sidelines of the 2017 Global Development Conference in Delhi. And some of them documented the interest of the community built through the last 2 decades to expand the reach of the competition beyond simply the remit of single awards. So the meeting in 2017 proposed the creation of a network of excellence spanning research and implementation, the 2 types of awards, that would leverage the experience and the expertise of past winners, connecting them among themselves, but maybe most importantly, connecting them with other communities. So the demand from past winners consulted in Delhi was to activate the pool of expertise represented by past winners into a global network. So it is with this in mind, and following the 20th years of the competition, that GDN aimed to support the transformation of the competition's past winners into a visible, globally connected and accessible network at the service of development. And what we want to show you now is a short video which demonstrates what this platform is able to do, the functionalities. And this is a silent video, so you'll see several things that can be seen with the material which is available on the platform. And I will make a few comments at the same time as you watch the video on this. So if, okay, the video is starting. To summarize what this video does, it is an interactive online platform which will support the visibility of the competition through a visual and interactive map featuring all past awardees. Furthermore, the platform will also serve as a strategic support to the competition's monitoring and evaluation, easing the tracking and the visualization of the competition's reach and impact over the very long term. And the platform will also allow non-awardees who are part of like-minded networks to identify collaborators among past competition winners. So this map will at once be an information hub for awards and networking platform, facilitating peer-to-peer support, in development across development research and implementation, pointing viewers to past winners or seed or LinkedIn profile for updated information and contacts. So basically, the idea is to make a full and solid link between award winners in general and the community, and to entertain a kind of continuous dialogue in the research community, which can be formed, which can create out of these awards that are given every year under the auspices of Japan at the Global Development Network conference. So this is not a static product, this will evolve. This is the start of this platform, but as it is the case with any kind of platform, it is only if the platform is visited by many people that will be learning how to use it, and in particular will be learning about how to improve it over time. So I invite you to go there and to see how this platform can be of use to you, whether you are an award winner or whether you are simply interested by what the award winners have done and interested by this particular development community. Okay, now we can go to the heart of this event, which is the announcement of the winners of the 2021 edition of the Global Development Award competition. So maybe I should start by giving the floor maybe to Francesco Urbino, who has been running the whole competition process, managing the various juries, dealing with application, selection, finalists, etc. So maybe it is much better for Francesco to explain this than myself. Francesco, if you want to give the floor, it's to you.
Thank you very much, François. Of course, not just me, the other team members, Rao, of course, and others. Thanks for running this with me. So some information about the 2021 edition of the Global Development Awards, or Japanese Awards, as we call them in-house. This is an extraordinary edition, not only because we run it entirely online. We usually have this at the Gdn conference, but also because we run 4 competitions in parallel. So we run 1 category for research awards and 3 for implementation projects. I'd like to start by thanking, of course, the 4 high-level juries that, one for the Outstanding Research and Development category, and the 3 juries for the Most Innovative Development Project awards that allowed us to come to this ceremony, award ceremony that we're starting now. I would like also to thank the 12 jurors, the main, in fact, reviewers, 12 junior reviewers and 10 senior reviewers for the award categories, and the 2 consultancies that helped us vet and review the projects during a multi-step selection process. We received 101 eligible applications this year from 37 countries. So again, quite impressive for this year's edition. All applications went through a full step selection process, of course, eligibility checks, peer and expert review, very detailed due diligence for the implementation projects, with a lot of interaction with the finalists, and the final stage, the jury stage, which took place between Friday and Monday. We had four different panels at the conference, where finalists presented the projects in front of a jury, followed by a closed-door jury meeting that deliberated on the awards. As some of you know, the competition focuses on different topic every year, and this year we aligned the competition with Japan's ODA priorities. So we have 4 different topics for the 4 different calls that we issued. For the research category, so the Outstanding Research and Development Award, we are looking for projects that could illuminate the interplay between international trade and trade policies and biodiversity conservation. Instead, for the implementation categories, so that are awarded to NGOs implementing innovative projects, we had 3 topics. The first one was universal health access and COVID-19. The second one was quality urban infrastructure and participatory governance. And the third one was community-based disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptations. We're very happy with the quality of the project this year, as in the past, but particularly this year, and the jurors have been really commended the quality of the project they have reviewed, including some of the jurors that have been part of this process for a long while. This is it for me. Thank you, François, for the floor, and I'll pass it back to you for the announcement of the awards. We'll have the names, of course, on the screen so that our different guest speakers can read them to the audience.
Okay, thank you very much, Francesco. Then let's start with the Outstanding Research on Development, ORD awards. And I remind you that the theme this year was the interplay between international trade and biodiversity. And I would like to invite Mr. Naoya Adachi to announce the winners of that category. Mr. Adachi, if you can, maybe it's difficult to read. This is the point. You are unmute, Mr. Adachi. Oh, I have the feeling that there is a connection problem on the side of Mr. Adachi. Yeah, it seems to be the case. Okay, I'm afraid that under these conditions, I will have to be a substitute for Mr. Adachi and to read the winners myself. Now, everybody has seen this on the slide. So the first prize go to Abdul Hanan Abdallah for a project called Implications of large-scale agricultural investment on biodiversity, evident from mixed method study of farm household in northern Ghana. The jury found the project well-built, concrete, feasible, clearly focused, and well-aligned with the call to throw light on the interplay between international trade and biodiversity conservation. If I don't hear from Mr. Adachi, I will continue. So congratulations, of course, to Mr. Abdallah. The second prize goes to Roger Merino. The theme of that project is Global Amazon, harmonizing development visions and multiscalar interventions in the building of a pluriversal governance in Peru. And the jury congratulates the important vision of the project to transform the governance of the Amazon, including trade, and hopes that this second prize can help leverage further research funding to achieve the full ambition of this project. Congratulations to Roger Merino. And the third prize goes to Chukwuka Onyekiwana, Evaluation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the AFCFTA, sorry, on Africa's biodiversity. This is seen from Nigeria, with a suggestion to use by the jury the funding to tighten the methodology that will serve to question and analyze. Sorry, this is not completely well written. That will serve to question and analyze the impact of continental trade liberalization on biodiversity. This is indeed a very ambitious project, and congratulations to Mr. Onyekwena. I think that this is it for the first set of awards. And then I will give the floor. Okay, I'm a bit lost at this stage. Let me get back to my notes. I'm afraid that I need them. I will give the floor, sorry, to Dirk Reinerman for calling the most innovative development project the awards. There are 3 themes in 2021, and there are 9 winners, and I leave Dirk Reinerman mentioning or reading who the winners are.
Thank you, François, with pleasure. So I'll read what we have here. The jury believes that the project's access to healthcare for migrant families in Thai construction site camps by the Kids Home Development Network Foundation in Thailand, and the project Hello Sati by Uninhibited from India show clear potential to impact the social well-being of most marginalized communities in their sites of implementation and have promising scale-up projects. In particular, the Hello Sati project has scope to impact equitable access to sexual and reproductive healthcare for women and girls at the scale of India, with possible applications in the rest of South Asia, in light of its roots in the contextual determinants of sexual and reproductive healthcare in the region. The project Access to Healthcare for Migrant Families in Thai construction site camps has potential to impact the lives of children of families involved as informal labor in the construction industry in Thailand and in other developing countries where the construction industry faces comparable socioeconomic challenges. The jury also awards the project Establishing Infection Prevention and Control Mechanism in Public Hospitals by United Way of Mumbai in India as a laudable attempt to change standards and professional behaviors in hospital-based settings, and highlights the need to develop a robust monitoring and evaluation framework that could benefit from their intervention and similar hospital-based NGO-facilitated behavioral change projects across the developing world.
Okay.
I think that concludes it. They do indeed
This is
sound all very interesting.
Yeah, this was on theme number 1. And thank you very much, Dirk. And of course, congratulations to the winners the names of whom we just heard. Again, there is I'm not sure about you have to realize that because the winners were selected only this morning, we are not completely aware of the way in which this is functioning. So do we have another theme now? Francesco?
Yes, I don't know if you can see the screen. Now we have the second category for the MIDP.
Okay, that's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay, now, therefore, I'm calling Pierre Jacquet to read this slide with the winners on the second theme, which is on quality urban infrastructure and community-driven governance.
Thank you, François. It's really my pleasure to report on this jury. And the first prize goes to Bal Raksha Bharat, which is Save the Children India, for their Dream Accelerator project. Bal Raksha Bharat, by putting young adults at the center of the identification of development projects and agendas, trains generations of Indian youth with strong ownership of development challenges. Congratulations. And the first prize is Chaire with International Transformation Foundation, ITF, in Kenya, for their project, a water kiosk at school, Karujia Secondary School. ITF developed an approach to mobilizing community around a challenging resource, water, and to pilot a community-based management approach that includes groups, including children, proportionally to their capacities and interests. It has potential to be scaled up to other regions and applied potentially to other contended resources. And finally, the second prize goes to Clean Up Nepal in Nepal for their project Expansion Nepal Waste Map, a digital waste management system, a community-empowered governance, with the recommendation to develop a robust M&E framework to track its intervention and similar interventions on the circular economy. Congratulations to all of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pierre. Now comes the third theme. And because I can see that Mr. Adachi is back with us, and we are very happy that this is the case, I substitute for Mr. Adachi reading the winners of the ORD competition. So maybe I could give back to Mr. Adachi the floor for reading the winners of the third theme on community-driven climate-related disaster risk reduction in rural areas. So, Mr. Adachi.
Okay, thank you. First of all, sorry for the poor connection. Okay, let me introduce the winners. The first prize goes to International Aid Services Kenya, IASK Kenya, capacity building of local community against climate change and improved livelihood. Salaka North Country, Kenya. And also it will be shared with CII Foundation, Confederation of Indian Industry, CII, India, Cleaner Air, Better Life, Crop Residue Management. So both projects show clarity of objectives, clear monitoring framework, and a promising approach to impacting the life of local communities in a holistic way while addressing climate change impacts. Both projects show how issue-specific interventions can be turned into a holistic intervention and involve a number of key stakeholders. And the second prize goes to Dufatanye Organization, Rwanda, expansion of villages of hope into 2 villages in Nyanza district with the recommendation to develop the link between development projects with climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction. So congratulations to all of them.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Adachi. I would like to remind the audience about something which is important. What you just heard are all projects, and the grants are awarded to go on with those projects, which will be implemented in the next 1 or 2 years, with management and technical support from Gdn and advice given by Gdn appointed mentors or advisors. So in particular, the contestant for the MIDP, the implementation development program category, later on will compete for the scale-up grant of $200,000 that will allow them to scale up the implementation that they will have developed in the next 1 or 2 years. I think it is important to keep that in mind, because without that, it is difficult to understand why the jury is making recommendations about insisting more on this aspect or this other aspect. So congratulations to all the awardees. This is really great. I mean, I believe that the projects and the programs that we heard are really all extremely interesting, and we can hope and can expect the best out of this research and this work that will be developed in the coming 1 or 2 years on those projects. And of course, I would like to congratulate and thank again the government of Japan and the World Bank for all their help, all their support, all their gifts to this Global Development Award institution. And certainly this event, this edition of the award is making us hope that this will continue for quite some time. I think that after 20 years, we can observe that this has been an extremely successful program, and this is a program that must continue, and I'm pretty sure that this is a way in which today the government of Japan and the World Bank also think. But to conclude this event, let me give the floor to Mr. Adachi for the government of Japan to say the closing words of that very important event, the Global Development Award 2021. Mr. Adachi, you have the floor.
Thank you, François. Again, I want to congratulate each of the 12 award winners this year for the significant accomplishment that they have achieved. I think you and your families should be proud of what you have achieved. And today marks an important milestone, but obviously it's not the end. So we look forward to seeing your continuous work to support future work and help address challenges that developing countries are facing, including by informing policymakers and helping them to make evidence-based policy decisions. And last but not least, taking this opportunity, I want to thank Francesco and the Gdn team for all the work you have done to prepare for this event. We really look forward to continue to work closely with you and also World Bank colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I believe that it would be normal to end up with an applause to winners and to organizers. So very silently, this is applause. Thank you very much, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you
Thanks
very
much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Bye,
François.
everyone.
Bye,
Thank you,
Francesca.
François. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
That's my button to